You two don't believe the story about the doctor sitting there talking to a big white rabbit, do you?
Maybe Dr. Chumley did go to Charlie's place.
Oh, and saw a big rabbit, I suppose.
And why not? Harvey was there. At first, Dr. Chumley seemed a little frightened of Harvey, but that gave way to admiration as the evening wore on. The evening wore on. Well, that's a nice expression, isn't it? With your permission, I'll say it again. The evening wore on.
And with your permission, I'm gonna knock the teeth down your throat.
Mr. Wilson, haven't you some old friends you can go and play with?
The nerve of this guy. He can't come out here with an ordinary case of the DTs. No, he's got to show up with a 6-foot rabbit.
As stimulating as this is, I must have been downtown.
Charlie's place? Oh, yes. Is Dr. Chumley there? Well, he was there earlier in the evening with Mr. Dowd. What? Well, don't bite my head off. My, that man was mad. He said Mr. Dowd was welcome there any time, but his friend was not.
Well, that's Mr. McNulty, the bartender. He thinks a good deal of me. Now let's all go down to Charlie's and have a drink.
Now, wait a minute.
Mr. Dowd?
Yes, my dear. May I hold your hand?
Yes, if you'd like to. Poor Mrs. Chumley is so worried. Something must have happened to the doctor. Won't you please try and remember something else that might help her, please?
For you, I would do anything. I would almost be willing to live my life over again. Almost. But I've told it all.
You're sure?
Oh, I'm quite sure. But ask me again anyway, won't you? I like that warm tone you had in your voice just then.
So did I.
Oh, I really must be going. I have things to do.
Mr. Dowd, what is it that you do?
Harvey and I sit in the bars and have a drink or two and play the jukebox. Soon the faces of the other people turn toward mine and smile. They are saying, "We don't know your name, mister, but you are a lovely fellow." Harvey and I warm ourselves in all these golden moments. We've entered as strangers. Soon we have friends. They come to us. They sit with us. They drink with us. They talk to us. They tell about the big, terrible things they've done and all the big, wonderful things they will do. Their hopes, their regrets, their loves, their hates. All very large because nobody brings anything small into a bar. Then I introduce them to Harvey. And he is bigger and grander than anything they offer me. When they leave impressed. Those same people seldom come back, but that's envy, my dear. There's a little bit of envy in the best of us. Too bad, isn't it?
How did you happen to call him Harvey?
Harvey's his name.
How did you know that?
No, that's an interesting coincidence, Doctor. One night several years ago, early in the evening, I was walking down Fairfax Street between 18th and 19th. You know that block?
Yes, yes.
I had just helped Ed Hickey into a taxi. Ed had been mixing his gin and his rye, and I felt he needed conveying. As I was walking down the street, I heard a voice saying, "Good evening, Mr. Dowd." I turned and looked, and there was this great white rabbit leaning against a lamppost. Well, naturally, I thought nothing of that, because when you've lived in a town as long as I've lived in this one, you get used to the fact that everybody knows your name. Of course, I went over and chatted with him. He said, "Ed Hickey was a little spiffed this evening, or could I be mistaken?" Oh, no, of course he wasn't mistaken. I think the world and all of Ed, but he was spiffed. Well, anyway, we talked for a while, and finally I said, "You have the advantage of me. You know my name, and I don't know yours." Right back at me, he says, "What name do you like?" Well, I didn't even have to think a minute. Harvey's always been my favorite name, so I said, "Harvey." He said, and this is the interesting part of the whole thing. He said, "What a coincidence. My name happens to be Harvey."
What was your father's name, Dowd?
John Frederick.
When you were young, you had a playmate, didn't you? Someone whom you could spend many happy, carefree hours with?
Of course, Doctor. Didn't you?
What was his name?
Vern McElhenney. Did you know the McElhenneys, Doctor? No. Oh, too bad. There were a lot of them. They circulated. Wonderful people.
Listen, Dowd, wasn't there someone, somewhere, at some time, whom you knew by the name of Harvey? Haven't you ever known anyone by that name?
No, Doctor, no one. Maybe that's why I always had such hopes for it.
Come on,
I'm taking him nowhere. You made this your show, you run it. Letting him sit here, forgetting all about Dr. Chumley. It's your show, you run it.
Well, come on, Dad. Come on, Howard.
Very well, Lyman. But I'm afraid I can't chat with you very long. I promised Harvey I'd take him to the floor show.
Ah, boy. Dr. Chumley, what the hell happened to you? Are you all right?
All right? Well, of course I'm all right. I'm being followed. Lock that door.
Who's following me?
Huh? It's none of your business.
No, Doctor.
Get that man Dowd out of here.
Yes, Doctor.
No, don't leave me.
But you just said...
Dump me on the telephone.
Yes, Doctor. Duncan, give that man down his clothes and get him down here right away.
Ah, don't leave me.
Just a minute, Doctor. Judge, Gaffney.
I want to say Dr. Chumley.
Hello, Myrtle.
Chumley, we've got to talk to you. This thing is serious.
It certainly is.
More serious than you suspect. Now, where can we go to talk?
No, not in there.
Doctor doesn't want you in his office.
No, sir.
Well, then sit down, Dr. Chumley. Sit down, little babe.
Sit down, Dr. Chumley. Sit down, Myrtle May. Don't go, Wilson. Don't leave me.
Now, Chumley, here are my notes, the facts. Can anybody hear me?
Oh, we can all hear you. Is that good?
Now, Chumley, has it ever occurred to you that possibly there might be something like this, Rabbit Harvey?
Of course there isn't. And anybody who thinks so is crazy. Look at me like that. There's nothing funny about me. I'm like my father's family. They're all dead.
Well, then, my client, the plaintiff, Mrs. Vita Louise Simmons, under oath, swears that on the morning of November 2nd, she was standing in the kitchen of her home. Hearing her name called, she turned and saw this great white rabbit Harvey. He was staring at her. Well, resenting the intrusion, she, the plaintiff, made certain remarks, drove the creature from the room. He went.
What did she say to him?
Oh, well, she was emphatic. The remarks are not important.
I want to know how she drove this creature from her sanitarium. I mean her home.
I hate to have you tell him, Judge. It isn't a bit like Mother.
All right, quit stalling. Let's have it.
She looked him right in the eye and exclaimed in a heat of anger, "To hell with you."
To hell with you? And he left?
Oh, yes, he left. But that's beside the point. The point is it perjury or is it something that we can cope with? Now, I ask for your opinion.
I don't know.
Ruthie, there you are. I've been looking all over for you.
Dr. Sanderson, disregard what I said this afternoon. I want you on my staff. You're a very astute young man.
Oh, Lyman, did you hear?
Oh, baby!